I'm very fortunate to be here today with Andrew Porteous from William Porteous Property Group. Andrew, thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Now Andrew, we're here at 10 Bellevue Terrace. Talk me through this asset.
Well, 10 Bellevue Terrace for me is one of my favourite projects and apartment developments in Perth.
Yep.
It's been put together, designed and built by Georgie exclusive builders. I'm one of their biggest fans, and they've really focused on designing and building more lock-up and leave type residences for their clients who typically have been living in these big family homes.
Andrew, you're obviously one of the premier agents in the western suburbs, and in particular the luxury space. What sort of market activity are you seeing in the post-election environment?
Well, it's interesting. We definitely saw a sort of malaise pre-election. People were definitely sitting on their hands, just waiting to see how that was all going to pan out. I do find in Perth that when we go into the winter period, people tend to hibernate. They go off for the European holidays, so it hasn't been particularly active, but there's definitely signs of a return to people making offers, and I think the fundamentals are looking exceptionally good on many fronts, and I think the recent interest rate reductions also going to stimulate more activity. So really I'm looking forward to spring.
Yep. And in comparison over the last 12 months, 24 months, where do you see the market?
Well, it's interesting. 18 months ago, with Sydney and Melbourne being very hot, we suddenly had an influx of buyers coming to Perth, both residential buyers but also some of the larger funds and private money, seeing good value in Perth. And what was happening is the Perth buyers were sort of again sitting on their hands, waiting to see what was going to happen, but the eastern state buyers were coming in and buying the properties, and the local buyers were missing out. But then what happened is when the Sydney and Melbourne market started to come off, a lot of the press surrounding that was about property declines and prices fall. And the Perth readers would then assume that was going to be relevant to the Perth market as well.
So there's been a lot of speculation around the recent zoning changes within the western suburbs, in particular Nedlands and Dalkeith. What does that sort of look like, and what's the market feedback been in that space?
Well, it's interesting, again, some of the sort of more conservative areas like Dalkeith, Nedlands, have now gone through that process of rezoning. And again, it's on the back of the commitment by the government to create high density. Perth can no longer go outwards, it's got to go up. And I think it's really providing the new type of accommodation for those people living in the areas, not wanting to leave the areas, but as I say, wanting to have something that's a bit more sort of low maintenance, lock up and leave.
A downsized market.
Correct.
And how's the local appetite for those not looking for that sort of product? Has there been some resistance with that, or have everyone been accommodating?
There's resistance sometimes to change, but ultimately those people are the ones that often want to actually move into something that, as I say, is more lock up and leave and sort of practical. Those developers that are designing and building things that really tick all the boxes are actually doing very well. I've been involved in a couple of projects that, in spite of the difficult economy, have actually been selling very well. And what I also experience is that people are happy to pay a premium for quality. If you can tick all the boxes and understand what they're looking for, the market is actually very, very strong.
Very responsive to that. Well, I've been very fortunate to have Andrew with me today here at 10 Bellevue Terrace. I really appreciate your time, Andrew, and I look forward to doing some business together in the future.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Andrew. Cheers.